There's a person in your life, maybe it's you, who gets quiet when things get real. They stop texting, they go cold, they create distance. And from the outside, it looks like they don't care. But here's what almost nobody talks about. Sometimes, pulling away is how some people love. Not because they're broken, not because they don't feel, but because caring for them is terrifying. And if you've ever done this, or if someone's done it to you, this video is going to explain something that will completely change how you see it. Let's start with something real. Most people assume that if you care about someone, you get closer, you open up, you show up. But there's a specific type of person who does the exact opposite. The more they feel, the further they go. And this isn't a personality flaw. This is a learned response, a survival strategy that made sense at some point in their life. And now it shows up in their relationships without them even realizing it. Psychologists call it emotional avoidance, but I want to break it down in a way that actually makes sense, because the clinical term doesn't capture what it actually feels like from the inside. For most people who do this, being close to someone doesn't feel safe. It feels exposed.
Because at some point, probably when they were younger, being open with someone they loved didn't end well. They were dismissed, rejected, or they lost someone without warning. So their nervous system learned closeness equals pain. And now, every time they start to feel something real, their instinct is to protect themselves. Not from the person, but from the possibility of being hurt. The distance isn't rejection. It's armor. Here's something most people don't understand about this type of person. They don't feel less. They actually often feel more. Emotions hit them hard. Caring about someone can feel almost unbearable, because with caring comes fear. Fear of losing them, fear of being too much, fear of needing them and being disappointed. So they do the only thing that makes the overwhelm go away. They create space. Not because they want to leave, but because the intensity of their own feelings scares them. This is the part that hurts the other person the most, and it's rarely intentional. When someone who distance avoids pulls back, part of them is watching. Will this person follow? Will they stick around? Will they still be there when I come back? It's not a conscious manipulation. It's an unconscious question. Are you safe? Can I trust you? Will you leave if I show you I'm struggling? The tragedy is, the very behavior that's testing the relationship is also the thing that damages it. So, who is this person? They're not cold. They might be the warmest person you know when they're not scared.
They don't avoid people they don't care about. They avoid the people they care about most. Think about it. When was the last time they disappeared? Right before something important. Right when the relationship got real. Right when they felt something they couldn't explain. That's not indifference. That's fear wearing indifference as a disguise. And if you are this person, I want you to hear something. The way you learned to handle closeness made sense once. It protected you. And it's okay that it's still showing up. But it's also worth asking, is it protecting you now? Or is it keeping you isolated from the people you actually want in your life? Now, if you're on the other side of this, if you're the person who gets left on red, who gets the cold shoulder right when things felt close, first, you're not imagining it.
and it's not about your worth.
But here's the thing. You cannot chase someone whose instinct is to run. Because every time you chase, you confirm their fear that closeness leads to pressure, to expectations they can't meet. What actually works, and this sounds counterintuitive, is consistency without demand. Showing up, being calm, not disappearing yourself, but also not making their distance into a crisis. Because what they need to learn, slowly over time, is that closeness is safe, that staying doesn't mean suffering. That's a slow process, and it requires you to also know your own limits, because you matter too. Your needs are real, and staying with someone who constantly distances themselves can become its own kind of pain if there's no movement at all. Here's the nuance that most videos on this topic miss. Not everyone who pulls away is someone worth waiting for.
There's a difference between someone who distances because they're emotionally overwhelmed and genuinely working through it, and someone who uses distance as control, as a power move, as a way to keep you uncertain and attached. The first person deserves patience and understanding. The second person deserves your boundaries. How do you tell the difference? The person who's genuinely scared will eventually come back. They'll show moments of openness. They'll show regret. They'll make small moves towards you, even if they're not perfect at it. The person who uses distance as control will only return when it benefits them. The pattern won't change, and you'll notice that the distance increases your anxiety, while theirs stays completely calm. Know the difference. It changes everything.
People who distance themselves when they care are some of the most misunderstood people in every relationship they're in. They look detached. They act unbothered. But inside, they're the ones thinking about you the most, worrying the most, feeling the most, and terrified that you'll see it. Understanding this won't fix a relationship on its own, but it might change how you respond. And that one change, choosing curiosity over conclusion, can completely shift what happens next. If this video made you see yourself or someone you love differently, that's the whole point. You're not broken, and neither are they. You're both just trying to figure out how to be close without getting hurt. If someone came to mind while watching this, share this with them. Sometimes a video says what we don't know how to.